Call to order this regular meeting of the Richard Peterson School Board. It's Monday, the 18th of March. And the forum room of the roll call.
Chris Grennan.
Here.
Valerie Howe. Here. Joyce Iverson. Here. John Linder.
Here.
Jeff Michael.
Here.
Bonnie Simpson. Here. Kathy Wade. Here. Abby Pick.
Thank you. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First is the adoption of the agenda. I understand we have one addition with the item 9 under personnel. Hire of Karen Culhane to the preschool para. Any other additions?
There are none.
For a motion to approve the agenda. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carried. Public comments. Anybody wish to address the board?
No.
Okay, thank you. Anything in the consent agenda that is discussed? We have donations in the amount of $1,200. February hand payables, the wires and payroll liabilities in the amount of $142,000. And February payroll in the amount of $272,062.85. March board bills in the amount of $146,022.01. Couple retirements.
We do. We have two individuals that indicated to me in writing. Number one would be Patty McAllister, who's currently a second-grade teacher, and Sherry Vicks, who's currently our high school special education teacher. Both of those individuals have indicated that they would like to take advantage of the early retirement. Jill Rasmussen has accepted a position outside of our school district, and we wish her well, and she's been a loyal employee here in the community head office for 17 plus years, so we're saddened to see her go, but at the same time wish her nothing but the very best. And then of course we have a reassignment of Amanda Miller, and then the hires there for our long-term substitute, and then our junior high softball coaches. And then, of course, I hired Karen Culhane, who's replacing Amanda, who moved into media.
Mr. Jim Reinhardt is
And
retired.
Jim Reinhardt, excuse me, let me back up with Jim. This is his second go-around. Jim retired, or took advantage of that opportunity, and so he retired in 2007, and now was hired back, and now has made the decision to make it a permanent. Jim was teaching on a part-time basis for us, anywhere, depending on our needs, 1 to 2 classes per day, and this year it was 1. Again, we're very pleased and thankful for his years of service to us as well, even prior to his retirement, but then for his continuation with us, and he will be missed, and so we wish him nothing but the best as well.
Anybody have any comments on anything on the consent agenda?
I guess just to clarify, I know I shouldn't be speaking now, but the junior high softball coach, they're doing it as a co-coach, so they're splitting the position. So it's actually not 2 full-time coaches, they're co-coaching the junior high. Due to our numbers of approximately 20 junior high kids, they both were interviewed and both felt that that would be a great fit for them to work together on that position. So they're splitting the pay, and that's a 1 position, but held by 2 people.
Okay, thanks. That's good to know. Anything else? to approve the,
I would like to make that motion to approve the consent agenda.
motion by Wade, second by Iverson. Further discussion? All those in favor of approving the items in the consent agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries. Move on to item 7, old business, middle school sale update.
Yes, and be happy to report to the board that the purchase agreement has been drafted, and we have a signed copy, and we'll wait and see that March, this Friday is the drop dead date for him to secure financing, so we'll wait and see how that proceeds for us and for him. And I will update you via email as to the results of that as well, so you don't have to wait for a whole month to understand how that's moving forward. So that's the update on the middle school sale update.
On the middle school, was there a Mitch Brown that came to talk to you?
There was, yes. He was down on Tuesday and did a walkthrough in the site, and then he called me on Friday and went through his interest in the property.
Okay.
He couldn't generate a cash flow with it, he said, so he has withdrawn his interest in the site. Thank you for that question. And thank you for sending him my way.
We got the authority to close this transaction. You're ready to move on to other options.
We are, yes.
Anybody else have any questions on the middle school? Okay, moving on to new business. Item A, authorizing Superintendent Baylor to advertise for milk, bread, gasoline quotes for the upcoming year. It's an annual requirement.
It is? Yes, it is.
I'll make some motion.
Motion by Howard. Second.
Yeah.
Second by Mike. Any questions on the bids? All those in favor of approving, authorizing Superintendent Naylor to go ahead with the bids, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Item 8B, trailers.
Sure. Before I move on, I just want to draw your attention to page 7, the donations. Again, just very pleased, and I know that Mrs. Lawson worked hard over the years here in establishing relationships with the various entities within our community, and so it's gratifying and rewarding to see those individuals stepping forward to assist us with our summer recreation program, as well as we sent out some letters seeking support for the track shooting team, and so we have a couple of donations, so I just wanted to draw your attention to those. So if you get the opportunity to see any of those individuals, we'd ask you to extend a note of appreciation for their willingness to support the summer rec and the track shooting team. On page 29 is my report, just a quick shout out to our high school choir and band on Monday, March 11th, which was last Monday. They performed at a large group competition that was held at Fillmore Central, and both the band and the choir all received 3 superiors. So, and the RP speech team was off to a great start here. We hosted an invitational here last Saturday, and as a result of the students rising to the occasion, they finished in first place with that. And then this past Saturday, it's not in my notes, but they were at the conference and came in second behind Goddard. So again, congratulations to them. As well as on page 30, the RP Senior High Knowledge team, they have advanced on to the state competition, so we wish them nothing but the very best in that as well. The new assignments, as I've kind of updated in your packet this evening, so you can kind of have a sense of where everything is going here as far as the number of positions that have been filled in the library media assistant position. Michelle Wick applied for and interviewed for the position and was offered the position, and she has accepted it, and so we're excited to see her enthusiasm and excitement for that position. The administrative community ad position, as I indicated to you, as you approved her resignation tonight, Jill Rasmussen and Amanda Miller applied for that position and has accepted that position. So in the high school para position, Laura Lee Bunky is moving in to replace Michelle Wick. So we're in the process of, you can take off the early childhood because you approved that position tonight. So we're working on securing a replacement for Laura Lee Bunky in the middle school para ed special education. Page 31, Facilities Committee. The committee is made up of Chris and Joyce and Bonnie and myself, and we met as a group on last Thursday. The consensus of the group was to meet with the city of Rushford and discuss some options for redevelopment of the elementary and middle school site as well as the building. What I'm looking for tonight from the board here is for everyone to basically understand that the city has tendered an offer towards the purchase of the building. Their offer was for $1. The Facilities Committee felt that in light of some interest expressed to us, as well as myself, as to you as board members, that it would be prudent for us as a district to go out and put out requests for proposals. And the city obviously is welcome to submit their proposal as well. So, Chris or Joyce or Bonnie, anything you wish to add on that?
Or are we ready to vote on doing a request for proposals so we can move forward with it?
It's not an agenda item, but it's just a consensus from you as a board. I would be interested if anybody has any dissenting opinions, so that when I communicate to the city, then I felt it was important to have a consensus from the group here this evening to say, yes, we envision this is the proper way to proceed with this.
Can I share my suggestion during the facilities meeting?
Sure.
Yeah.
Given that all developers are not successful in completing the projects, I felt it would be of value for us to require, as a condition of a developer proposal, that they work with the city to complete the project. And the city has tools that they can assist the developer, and I think that would help to ensure that it's a project that fits within the city's guidelines as well, and gets complete. That's the bottom line. It's got to add value and utilize the property and building techniques.
Well, I think that would be in everybody's interest to do that, obviously. I guess my feeling is that we have the option of giving it to the city basically, but it'd be nice to see if there's some other interested parties out there that might actually be willing to offer some money for it. The city's plan is to take that building down quickly and move on, and that's certainly their option, but we might want to consider what's out there in the marketplace.
Is the high school portion considered a historical landmark or not? Okay, it's not.
Well,
We applied, and the reason that it was turned down is that there were too many additions to it. So it's not to say that in the event that a developer tore off the elementary wing, that would be not something that they could seek out again. But it's a commitment.
in its current state, it's not, but if it's put back in its original state as part of the remodeling process, then it probably would qualify. So, but, everything takes money and there's that issue. But the city wants to, I'm not sure, I can't speak for the city, obviously, but they want to put in something, tear it down, start over.
So I think what John just said, that kind of echoes what those of us on the committee talked about at our meeting, that we just, not so much that we're rejecting what the city is proposing, but we felt like we wanted to cast the net again and just see, like you said, what interest is out there. You know, we felt that's probably our duty as a board to make sure we've made it available to wide group, you know, so. But also that, as Joyce said, to emphasize that whoever would come in and win this bid, we would like them to cooperate with the city, hopefully in tandem with them in developing.
Not buy it, sit on it for 10 years.
Great.
And then further, if that, if the developer still falls through, then we would automatically let it go to the city. And then we wouldn't lose an additional, 3 months because if something doesn't happen before an action or, that's.
Even a private party buys, whatever their plans are, they're gonna have to work with the city. I mean,
Right,
it's part of the city property, whatever zoning and permits or whatever they have, I mean, so the city's gonna be involved no matter what happens.
But any kind of development agreement requires a timeline. And without that, we're not going to be sure that something is going to happen in a timely fashion.
I wanted to say too, and I might be mistaken, but my read on the, I think it was 2013, the letter that came from whatever group designates something as historical, my read on it wasn't that, well, it still could be if you added something back. My read on it was, it's done, because some of the most important pieces they would look for have been removed, and so I mean, I want to be cautious about letting the idea get out there that, well, it still could be a historical building. My read on it was that that was a closed case.
I think there are some options, that, as long as somebody's willing to spend the money, but, that's.
You need to restore
To
the things
restore
that
it.
were.
Right, yeah, take, which adds to the cost, obviously, but there are people out there that specialize in developing old properties, that, there might be some interest in.
I think my read is just that they wouldn't probably qualify for the grant money. I mean, anybody could certainly restore it to its grandeur, from back in the day, but that, whatever that group is, that.
Yeah, there used to be good tax credits.
Right.
Anything else you can go on?
Nope, I'm good, got it. And the committee was very clear on their timelines, and so I will share those with the city of Rushford as well.
Are we ready to proceed? Because we were talking about getting out the budget first.
Yep.
Do we need a motion at all?
Again, it's not an agenda item, so I didn't include it as an agenda item.
So we'll consider consensus then to move forward.
Yeah, I'm gathering from your input tonight that it's consensus by the board here that we want to inform the city of the plans that we discussed as a committee, and that the whole board is supportive of the committee's recommendation as well. My last item on page 31 there is just, I included some additional updates to you tonight. One was from MSBA, and Laura provided that to you, and then a separate one was the omnibus education policy bill brought forth. And if I could just give you just a little bit update on how that's all working out. When the House and Senate get together, instead of passing a separate education policy bill, they put everything into one bill, and they call it the education omnibus bill. And so the committees take what the House wants to do and what the Senate wants to do, and they put it all into this nice little packet, and they call it the omnibus education bill. And so here are some of the things that are included in that, and I wanted you to be aware of that. And of course, there's been lots of information and opinions expressed and how to address the number of days missed by schools here due to the impact of our wild and crazy weather this winter, and so that is in place as well. So I wanted you to be aware of that, and again, contact information for your elected officials is included in your packet. And then just to bring you up to speed, the federal government has put forth some proposals, and they're advocating for a 10% reduction in education funding. So that concludes my report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions concerning you might have.
Would you just give us a really brief summary of the tier 1 control? Some of us don't remember exactly what,
I'm
it's a way of
gonna,
licensing
yeah.
without the traditional route.
Mr. Tim has worked closely with that, and so I'm going to rely on his expertise to update you on that. So, Mr. Tim.
Remind, could you say it again?
We can't remember exactly what the tier 1 teacher, tier 4 teacher, what, are those all ways of getting a license without following the traditional route?
Yep,
or-
so, okay, I just wanted to make sure I heard second answer correctly. Last year, the department came out with different tiers to get towards your license. A tier 4 is a traditional tenured teacher. So a teacher that has more than 3 years experience. I don't think I have the graphic on my computer anymore, but a tier 4 has more than 3 years experience, has passed all the tests, has been issued tenure in a district. And they've went through the normal program. A tier 3 teacher is an individual that is fresh out of college, has passed, maybe passed some of the tests, but not all the tests, and has less than 3 years experience. So they have teachers when they come out have to pass like an MTEL, which is like a math and reading, writing type of test, and they also have to pass a content or pedagogy test for their area. So if they pass those and they're in their first 3 years, they're a tier 3 teacher. Or if they cannot pass those, but they've got a traditional 4-year degree through the college program, then they could stay at tier 3 as they went. A tier 2 teacher, tier 2 and tier 1 are kind of your community experts, more or less. A tier 1 is really just a community expert, and in the area of CTE, they just need a 2-year degree, where if it was they could have a 4-year degree to get into some of the others, and they have to apply for that. So tier 1 and a tier 2, the biggest difference is there's like a list, and like I said, I don't have it right in front of me now. I'll try to look it up here and see if then I can tell you exactly. There we go, there's an infographic on it, which makes it a little bit easier to explain. So the biggest difference between a tier 1 and a tier 2 teacher is a tier 2 teacher has either enrolled in a teacher prep program, has a master's degree, or has a combination of the following where they've completed the degree, they have 8 upper level credits in a specific area, they have some specific training, or they've passed the test. So that's kind of the difference between a tier 1 and a tier 2. And teachers or individuals that are hired have to apply to the state, and then they can get the different tiers. To go from a tier 2 to a tier 3, there's programs that teachers can go back and get in. So the old community expert type of license, we had teachers that came in that, especially in the CTE areas, would get that community expert license, and then would go back and get training and slide into a traditional license, and that's where staff can go from a tier 1 to a tier 2 to a tier 3 by going back and getting training. The way that the department has said when you are, in terms of hiring protocol, you can hire a tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 teacher regardless. They're all lumped in together. You can hire any one of those. A tier 1 teacher, you have to, I'm trying to look here, a tier 1, you have to you cannot hire a tier 1 over a 2, 3, 4 unless extenuating circumstances. That's kind of that old community expert type of one. So I hope that answers it a little bit. It's kind of some murky, and we've kind of worked through it with our different teachers and as we've hired them and went through, but like I said, we have, and it's, the state's going back and forth again, but right now it's tier 1's kind of your lowest, and you work your way up, and once they get into that tier 2 through tier 4, they're kind of all there together. A tier 1 license you have to renew every year. On March 1st, you have to let that teacher go and then repost for the position. Tier 2 through tier 4, you do not need to do that.
So it's an advantage really to smaller districts, especially to be able to utilize those tier 1 and tier 2, which is why MSBA is fighting against, right now, the bill would make that more limited, right? That
Yep.
you can only renew the tier 1 for one time maybe, or?
Yeah, the biggest thing, and I get it, I mean, Ed Minnesota's kind of leading the charge on it, that it's lowering the teacher quality and lowering getting into the field, because teachers that went in had, you know, you get your 4-year degree and you get your education, and then an individual that's a expert in the area per se can now come in, and what they're really trying to fight, there's something in there where you could get to a tier 3 teaching degree without ever really taking pedagogy type classes. There's a one in there that says if you either via portfolio or if you have 3 years of teaching at a tier 2 level, you can work your way up. That's where there are programs out there for teachers to go back and get some of that education. So it is advantageous, especially to smaller districts and especially to your CTE type areas where they struggle to find teachers a lot to use those. And the tier 1 again is that bottom where you've got to keep renewing and going forward. So if a teacher can get into a tier 2 level and then work their way up, it's good. And we have, I think currently on staff, do we have any tier? We have some tier 1s that we've added a licensure on because you used to be able to get variances for teachers that teach or that taught out of their expertise or out of their field. An example is Tracy Smith on her speech license. She has an elementary ed license. We used to get a variance. We're now, this summer, we're going to learn how do we use that as it's a request to teach out of field for a tiered license, I think, and that'll be something new this summer. And we've got, I think we have a few on that, and then otherwise, in terms of them, we have a one tier 2 teacher on staff as well. And then the tier 3, tier 4, like I said, is kind of your regular one. So it's kind of a new process that, as if you talk to MSBA and stuff like that, it's one of those where legislature's written, and generally they get a couple years to write the rules after the legislature, and this was put into place last year about this time, and they had like 60 days to write the rules as all these people were applying, so it's a continual learning process as we keep going.
Thank you.
Yep, I hope that makes sense.
Oh, it does, actually, that helps a lot.
And I can, I'll send you guys the infographic from Ed Minnesota that helps explain the differences a little bit too. That might make it a little bit more clear than just listen to me ramble over here.
Thank you, Mr. King.
Thanks.
Could I add?
Sure.
We had talked in the meeting about this
Right.
kind of format, and I would like to add to that, that we ask the proposal to include successful development projects.
Okay, Ms. Boston, Community Ed.
Youth enrichment, youth dance continues to go really well. We have 69 participants. The performance is coming up in April on the 27th, so that'll be a fun day. Open gym is still going strong through March, obviously with the weather. Hopefully it'll lighten up a little bit and the kids will be getting outside, but that'll go through March. And then we've added volleyball open gym too from 3 to 4:30 as well, so it's kind of fun for our girls and kids. We met with the last year's soccer coaches to discuss the spring soccer program. Last year, if you remember, we had a huge turnout, which was wonderful, but with the weather and our spring sports already in, our field space was going to be limited, so they decided to do a longer summer season instead, so we're looking at that for the summer. And then upcoming planning, I met with our advisory council last week and went over all of our summer planning. A lot of fun things. We have a new student teacher, and I go around and I talk to all of them about possibly working at Kids Club or what are their talents if they want to teach a class or whatever. And this one came up with a ballroom dance. So we're going to have ballroom dance classes. We haven't had that for a long time. And that's a new thing coming back, so it's kind of going to be fun. We have pickleball starting tomorrow night. Craig Colvinson is leading the charge on that one, so if you don't have anything to do tomorrow night, come on down, so it'll be fun. Our 55 and live driving classes are still going strong. Adult rec, we still have the open gym on Wednesday nights, hall walking, lots of hall walkers. And then also with the recreation on the community side for the fitness center, on the back page of my report, I talked about all the different memberships and different fees that we charge and where we're at. So it's a lot of money that flows through for the fitness center for annual memberships. 19 we have right now, 5 monthly memberships, but we've had 29 canceled memberships, which are the monthly ones that start and stop. So that's been ongoing throughout the last year. 24 senior citizen memberships, which 9 of them are Silver and Fit members, which means we receive reimbursement for every time that they come and work out. And then we have 4 police officer memberships. So those are all listed on the back page with all the different rates and stuff for you to look at. Kids Club highlights. Average month, 11 in the morning, 29 in the afternoon, but that's going up again this month because we gained like 5 as we wrote this report last week. So in one day because of the spring sports starting. So Lily View Preschool, we're taking registrations. That's going on right now. And then they have their upcoming field trip. And then Shelby Miller started today as the long-term sub for Courtney, so while she's out. So, and then ECFE, our new spring session started, and hopefully with the weather it'll cooperate so we have more of a turnout. And that has been a huge deterrence right now for our participation level. And then the annual daddy-daughter dance coming up and grandchild class. That's just a fun class for on a Saturday. And as you saw, the community had changes. I mean, very sad to see Jill leave, but also super excited for the new opportunity and excited for Amanda to come in. She did a wonderful job on her first day today, so very happy.
Anything for Ms. Lawson? Thank you. Elementary principal.
Yes. I want to start with the kindergarten registration. That was last Friday. It went really well. The parents came in and the teachers and the helpers were right here and took the kids over on that little fish. It was welcome to our school theme, which Keela is very creative. And went through all the paperwork. We had a, what is that called? PowerPoint presentation for the parents, which was nice because they could just look up there and not just hear us talking like Keela said. At the end of it, they had a lot of good questions too, as far as how the day would go for them. And I was surprised this year we had lots of tours. So they didn't really care about this wing. They just wanted to see, kind of basically you come in the front door with the bus, head down this way. They saw the outfits on the wall. And they really liked the fact that that was there, and then the lights and the 2 classrooms we have currently. They were peeking in on those. Then they wanted to know, like the back way, the library, gym, and that. So I showed them where those would be in the back hall, and it kind of explained how middle school, high school, we really don't see a lot of them. Lunchtime is the most, and it was very quiet in here. And going through the commons area, how they bring their backpacks in the morning and coats and hang them there and have breakfast, or this is the door we go outside, this is where we hang up things. A lot of them felt really good about that. Many of them have older children, but they still went on the tour with us. And like I said, they were excited. We had a few less, so I know kindergarten in their report, they said 43 were signed up, but we did have 41 who showed up the actual day last Friday. But it went really well and really smooth, and it was nice, it was very nice. ADSES, we have the application. They give you about a month window. So it is actually due the 5th of April. Our goal is April 1st. We're going to be working this Wednesday. We have subs for a couple of them. And we'll be working through the application form, and then I've asked the staff for budget requests for this as well. One thing unique about the budget with ADSYS is we've had it for so many years. They're like, we feel like we have a lot of good things, your first time through with the budget, if you put in 500, the next year you get probably 600, but if you had like 2,000, you'd get over it. So I wanted to make sure that everybody just basically get what they need. If they don't need anything in particular, I'm hoping to find something new that they could do. And they're trying to be creative, but I think middle school more than the elementary are pretty set with what they do and their plan going forward. Computers is one thing that the elementary said because they're getting outdated since the last time they ordered several years ago. And so that part. Our reading month is coming to a close. We're going to end that this Friday. The bike's out here. The bikes are normally in the library, but now they put them out here and the kids are just stopping, kind of checking out for height, I saw a few climb on them, and so they're pretty excited. Their favorite one so far that I've got is the orange one up here, so you have to take a look. But what happens is the kids, when they win, they get to pick, and then if it's the wrong size, wrong color, whatever it may be. The Masons are very generous, and here's your slip, take it back, get something you like, and so it works out perfectly, and we're very, very, very thankful for the Masons to donate 5 bikes. That will be right at 1:30 this Friday. I'm trying to tell Ted we're ready. We have to start right away to recognize everybody. The Winona State Play will be setting up behind the screen or the curtain, as we are presenting these bikes and that. We'll open the curtains, and Winona State will do their plays. So it should be an exciting Friday afternoon for the elementary. The other thing that the 4th and 5th graders had today was the Screenagers. I did watch that and gave a lot of really good information. And that's tonight now at 7 o'clock for parents, adults, anyone who wants to attend. But it's just kind of a reminder, some things I hadn't thought of really about the whole technology world and young people. So it was good. So I'm hoping a lot of parents show up tonight. And that's my report.
Okay, any questions for Mrs. Shepherd? Thank you. Mr. Tim, your report.
I think you ought to start there. You see the honor roll for the middle school, high school. Middle school is probably kind of cool. It says that 66% of our kids were A or B honor roll. Last year at this time we had 53%. And not that we're chasing grades with learning, but I think we updated in the fall about once a month we have a incentive day, enrichment day, kind of whatever you want to call it, where any student that has missing work, our teachers keep tabs on it. And then that day, if they have any missing work in any of their classes, they go to a room, they got to finish it. And then when they're done, in the fall, we went outside and did some picking up, went for a walk, stuff like that. And as it gets nice, we'll do it again. This winter, spend more on movies, playing dodgeball, running around the gym, stuff like that. But just almost that expectation that every assignment's an important assignment in the middle school, and you have to turn everything in. And the list fluctuates up and down, but you can see by the A and B honor roll going up that our kids getting their assignments in is important, and the list each time seems to be a little bit less of kids that do it. And then when they get in there, you can see them really pushing to get out. So it's kind of proud of the middle school staff for jumping on that and just saying every assignment we give has to be turned in regardless. We're not going to let a kid just say, I'll take the 0, it's not that big of a deal. So hopefully instill in them in middle school some of that importance of assignments, so as they get to high school, we have more. Because as you see, the high school numbers a little bit lower, and we have students in credit recovery, and just trying to instill in kids all the time that it's important to get every single assignment done, and teachers aren't just giving them for a reason. And when you're doing the assignments, you're more chasing learning than you're chasing a grade, and the grades will kind of follow. Next week on the 28th, we have sophomores and juniors who will take the AccuPlacer test. AccuPlacer is, as we've talked about with our Minnesota State Southeast, kids that take the concurrent enrollment classes where our staff teaches them in their college classes at the same time. They got to score a certain percent or a certain score on that AccuPlacer to say they're college ready. So it's an important test for our kids that want to take some of the college classes. Last Friday, we had the science fair. Mrs. Boyum does a great job organizing and running that. Knowledgeable team, Mr. Ayler mentioned. Band and choir, Mr. Ayler mentioned. And then our fine arts night was earlier this month. And just a great night, a fantastic night for our band, for our choir, which it's kind of cool because that's on Friday night, and the next Monday was the large group contest, so it was almost like a dress rehearsal for them. In a way, they were awesome. We had our seniors, Grace Thompson, Cole Knutson, and Faith Ide, did their speeches, which the next day was speeches here. And it was kind of cool because they normally don't give them in front of people, or not big crowds, it's normally just a few people in their contest. And talking to them afterwards, they talked about how nervous they were, but then having the people, because not many people go to a speech contest, afterwards all the people that were there just saying, wow, that was so cool, they did so awesome, 10-minute speeches that these kids had memorized. So a great night for our kids to kind of be under the lights and do a cool display of their talents that normally doesn't get seen. Then we also had the art show of our Mrs. Cunningham had a whole bunch of her art projects out. Mrs. Thompson had some from the housing and design class. Mr. Lind and Mr. King had 3D prints and some wood projects. So just a way to display all the talents of our kids here in a setting that not a lot of people get to see. And just the comments that night over and over were just, wow, I can't believe high school kids did this. Wow, I've never seen that here. So it's really fulfilling for those kids there. And then below that's just a laundry list of upcoming things as we work our way through the next 2.5 months. And then I can entertain any questions you have.
Mr. Tim, do you want to add, we have some students that have a part of the Rochester Art Show.
I don't have that list.
Okay, well, not the list of students, but just.
Oh, yes, the art show generally. Yep, and Mrs. Cunningham does a great job of putting art around the area. So currently throughout the Civic Center with the state, or with the section tournaments and around there, they have an art show for the Three Rivers Conference up there. And we have a number of pieces that are up there right now at that art show as well.
That is organized and facilitated by Kevin Cardell, who's the superintendent at Crescent, and we're very appreciative of his efforts. This has been, the third year that we've done this, and so it's a nice way for our students to have the opportunity to put their art projects out there in front of people. So appreciate everyone's efforts there to make that happen for us.
Thanks, Mr. Tim. Bureau activities?
Yep. My report starts out by wrapping up our winter activities. So we are officially ready to be done with winter now that the activities are done. In there is a congratulations to our 3 LARP wrestlers that went to state, Gable Speltz, Noah Herber, and Ross Herber. Gable was eliminated the first day, but Noah and Ross are cousins. Ross finished 4th and Noah finished 5th. And then they had their awards banquet just this last Sunday. A great way for them to wrap up that season, doing a great job of representing our LARP wrestling program. Also, congratulations to our boys basketball team who went advanced in the tournament to the semifinals of the sections, which would have been the old subsection finals. Due to the weather, we had to reschedule that from Saturday the 9th to last Wednesday the 13th. Unfortunately, we were not successful in our game against Randolph, but that ended our boys season. Still a very successful season though, with a record of 18-11. As far as local success, Goodhue and Caledonia girls just on Saturday finished well representing our Section 1 teams in the state tournament. Goodhue girls finished 2nd and Caledonia girls finished 2nd. Coming out of the boys side of it, in Section 1 and we will be represented by Spring Grove. So we wish them the best of luck in their state tournament. They'll be playing on Thursday. So now we'll transition to spring. I've got in the report there all the different activities. I know we've already heard of success from the speech. We had track and softball start last week, and we have baseball and golf starting this week. All together, I'm guessing on some of the numbers for today, baseball and golf. Not final numbers till obviously they showed up, but you got the speech numbers. We had 25 kids. Track and field, we have 99 kids, of which 74 are from RP. Softball is at 41 participants. That's up from 26 last year, so that's a great growth in the softball program. I'm very excited about that. Baseball, we're guessing between 25 and 30. I will get the numbers from the coaches tomorrow morning. And then golf, our new LARP golf team will have either 22 or 23, of which obviously a portion of those are RP kids. So altogether, spring participants from RP in the neighborhood of 170 to 175 of our kids. So very active, which is great as an extracurricular, obviously an add-on to our academic program that we have here as well. So I've got the different dates of upcoming things, including, as you've heard already, the State Knowledge Bowl with Meredith Johnson leading that. They go up to Brainerd on the 10th and 11th of April. One other thing, I guess, looking at spring, we've got Winona Nursery going to be coming back. I know Mr. Ayler normally talks about that, so I'll throw that in since he didn't get that first. Winona Nursery coming up to do the finishing touches on our fields down there once this snow and water all disappear. So we're looking forward to that. We're going to be hosting, obviously, all of our baseball, softball, and track meets here. One thing that I do want to bring to you is the scoreboard. We had a local business approach me last year about wanting to make a sizable donation to cover the cost of a new softball scoreboard. Went out and got quotes on that, went back to the business, and they are still prepared to make a complete donation to cover the entire cost of that softball scoreboard. In the neighborhood of about $9,000 is what that would be. But we would need, obviously, you as a board to accept that. They also want to include a tribute to Rod Anderson as part of that as well, and that was from some of the alumni stressing that, but this business is very, very supportive of that as well. So I'm not bringing the to you right now to accept their donation, but just wanted to make sure that you would be supportive of that type of thing. I don't know if you have questions on that, or I guess where we go with that, but that would be something that they're prepared to, with your blessing of us being able to accept that, of cutting the check to us, so our next meeting, we could accept that.
Well, I think that's a great idea. I don't see a downside here.
All right, I don't either, so I'm glad to hear that as well. Other than that, I guess I would entertain any other questions you may have on the report. Again, if you can be on my side and help pray that we get the snow disappearing as fast as possible and get our spring sports going. Right now, our first track meet is March 26th. That'll be an indoor meet down at Luther, but then we're looking to get outside. April 2nd, we're hoping to host a track meet, and April 4th is our first baseball and softball. And then April 6th, I'm going off of memory here, I think is our first golf tournament at Hayfield. So I have a meeting tomorrow with our conference ADs where we're going to be looking at if we have to make any adjustments. Last year we got into the middle of April throughout the entire schedule. We're very optimistic this year, looking at our extended forecast looks very positive. So, but any questions, I guess I would entertain them.
Questions for Mr. Beaver? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Before you enter into your next phase here of adjournment, I want to take this opportunity this evening to inform the board that, as you know, last week we went 2 hours late, and we put out there to our parents that due to the very icy conditions that we would be traveling on only those roads that were the hard surface roads or those roads that were sanded. So just a note of thanks to our parents for understanding. We did have parents that called and said, "You're absolutely right. Please ask the drivers not to come down our road or into our area." I don't know if you're familiar with Wiscoy Valley up here, but you could get in, but you couldn't get out. So we're very appreciative of parents understanding the need because, you know, it's been ongoing all year long with the impact of weather, but extremely appreciative of the parents' positive response to us having to say we can only go on the roads that are safe for the buses to travel on, and they were completely understanding of that. So a note of thanks to our parents.
Yes, there were several buses in Rochester that went in the ditch.
Yes.
It was a good call. We don't need safety issues.
Well, and kudos to our drivers for knowing what areas that they could safely enter into and exit, and so again, better handle on just knowing those situations and not putting themselves in peril there when they're out on those conditions. It was just, as you all know, it's been a very challenging season for us. So we're happy to see, as Mr. Zubidov indicated, moving forward to spring. Hallelujah.
Anything else? We have our next meeting on the 15th of April, right here. motion to adjourn. Iverson. Second. All in favor? Give it a second. Opposed? Carried.